Hello everyone. After having understood the construction of line frequency graph without and with kink, we now move on to the construction of histogram. To begin with, the discussion will be on constructing histogram with equal class intervals. Let us understand how a histogram can be made with the help of a numerical example. Here, information on number of workers and wages are given. Wages are in thousands of rupees, which is given in the class intervals 0 to 5, 5 to 10, till 25 to 30. And number of workers are given here as 5, 10, 20, 15, 10 and 15. So let's go step by step. So first step is to select the variables for x and y axis. The value of variables, that is wages, will be shown on x axis, which is independent variable, and number of workers, dependent variable, will be on y axis. The dependent variable is depicted as the height of the rectangle drawn vertically upwards on the x axis for each variable value. Then third step is that you need to select the scales of both the axes. It should be selected so that all the values of the variables to be represented on that axis are covered within the axis length of 5 to 7 centimeters. So for x-axis, let's select a scale to represent value of variables, that is wages, on x-axis. Say wages of 5,000 is represented by 10 mm point, which is given as A on x-axis. So x-axis scale is 10 mm is equal to 5,000 rupees. For y-axis, you need to select a scale to represent value of frequency, which is number of workers on y-axis. So 5 workers are represented by 10 mm point shown by A dash on y-axis of the graph. So y-axis scale is 10 millimeters is 5 workers. Next is to identify the length of x-axis. Total length of x-axis, that is OX, would be assumed bar width, which will be in millimeters, into number of bars to be made, plus margin on the left side of the first bar, plus margin on the right side of the bars for the last bar. So we assume a reasonable width, which is 10 millimeters. Left side margin is 0 millimeters because first class interval is 0 to 5, specifically 0 to 5,000. Right side margin would be 10 millimeters. The number of class intervals that we need to make is 6, so there would be 6 bars. So length of x-axis would then be width of the bar into number of bars plus left side margin plus right side margin, which is width is 10 millimeters. We have assumed number of bars are 6, 10 into 6 plus both the margins as plus left side margin is 0 and right side margin is 10. So that makes it 70 mm or 7 centimeters. So length of x-axis would be 7 centimeters. Now length of y-axis. Maximum number of workers are 20. Margin for workers is 5 workers. Highest scale marking on y-axis would be 20 plus 5, which is 25. So y-axis scale is 5 workers represented by 5 mm. So length of y-axis would be scale of workers divided by number of scale workers into maximum workers, which is 5 by 5 into 25 or 25 mm. Margin for upper end of y-axis is 10 mm. So total length would be 25 plus 10, which is 35 mm or 3.5 centimeters. So length of y-axis would be 3.5 centimeters. Then further, you need to take a graph paper, select a point O near the left side of graph paper at such a location that both x and y axis can be accommodated easily, where x-axis is 7 centimeters long, y-axis 3.5 centimeters long. Now draw a line OX which is 7 centimeters long and draw a line OY which is 3.5 centimeters long. Then you need to mark the variable which is wages. Scale we have already assumed 10 millimeter is salary of 5,000. Starting from point 0, one can mark 5 at 10 millimeters which is point A and 10 at 20 millimeters. Likewise, one can mark up to 30 on x-axis as the maximum wages of workers is 30,000. Next step is marking of dependent variable, that is number of workers on y-axis. We have already found out the scale for y-axis, that is 5 mm is 5 number of workers. Starting from point 0, mark 5 at 5 mm depicted by A dash, 10 at 10 mm and likewise mark up to 25 on y-axis as is depicted here. Next is you need to plot the frequency distribution graph through a histogram. First data point of wages is 0 to 5,000 and 5 workers. So you get a point at B. From there you have a vertical line to meet the horizontal graph line C. So the length of AB is 5 mm. One can, after joining CB, the rectangle OABC on the graph presents the first data point 0 to 5,000 and 5 workers. Similarly, one can draw other data points to get frequency distribution graph, which is histogram. One has to take care that while making a histogram, there is no gap between the bars. Next bar is adjacent to the previous bar. So with this, the discussion on construction of histogram when class intervals are equal gets complete. I hope you have understood these steps, which include first selecting the variables, then selecting the scale, then selecting the length of the axis, then marking dependent and independent variables, and finally plotting histogram. To learn more, visit our website and enroll in our courses to master economics and get a higher score in CBSE and CUET examination. With our current introductory offer, you can enroll in each of the courses for just Rs 999. So, seize the opportunity and join before the introductory offer expires. Like, share and subscribe to EcoStudies channel. Also, drop a comment. See you in the next session for another concept. Thank you.